3, 2, 1.
And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the prosecution is not going to get that man today. No, because I'm going to get him.
This is the Hagmann and Hagmann Report for today, Thursday, September 20th, 2012. I'm Doug Hagmann. With me is my co-host, Joe Hagmann. He's my son. We are the premier investigative team on the radio team on the Internet, and you are about to hear 2 hours of unbiased and uncensored news and analysis. We're going to bring you information you need to know in these perilous times. We broadcast live each weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on the Internet at HomelandSecurityUS.com. That's HomelandSecurityUS.com, not affiliated with any government website. And, of course, you can also watch us as well, as we are simulcast in high-def video on the Christians United Broadcasting Network. High-def, go figure. And that will be up in a moment. Our video will be up in a moment. I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for your belief and trust in us as we walk through this minefield of current events together. I got to tell you, things are ramping up pretty quickly. Folks, we're a listener-supported broadcast. We want to thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts who has helped us stay on the air through your financial support. Now, tonight, in addition to taking your calls, here are some of the stories we'll be covering during this broadcast. We're talking about a conversation I had, perhaps the last conversation I'll have, with my DHS insider.
Yeah, also QE3, we know that the Federal Reserve has expanded the quantitative easing infinity program, and we're going to get into what that means to you.
Yes, we touched on that last night.
This is,
but it ties with the DHS insider, what he said.
Yeah.
Okay. And also the embassy, U.S. Embassy in Pakistan, under siege.
Also, Big Sis and Obama are set to sign a surveillance grid executive order. This is big news as Obama's executive order, rule by executive order, continues.
Yes.
His 135 executive orders already.
Now, yeah, 135, go figure. 3.5 years, or almost 4 years. No, 3.5, actually. Anyway, our call-in number, should you want to join the conversation on anything topical, give us a call at 661-244-9839. That's 661-244-9839.
Other news we didn't mention at the top of the show here that we're going to get into is a little bit about the UN agenda and some NGOs of the UN who are the forerunners in trying to bring about a one-world religion requiring a Luciferian oath and initiation.
Indeed. You know, look, I don't want to make this a commercial, but I got to tell you something. We are really I am so excited about sending postcards out about on these cardstock, Iconic Design Gallery, iconicdesigngallery.com. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. It's kind of more of a fun thing that I've been doing. The gentleman there, in fact, Dan Haggerty, he's part of the Barrett Haggerty Offensive. He's a talk show host out of Philadelphia. And I got to tell you something, folks. Although the talk show hosts really have got to get together. We got to drop any egos and agendas we have and get together and really get the truth out there, because man, this information is coming fast and furious. Pun intended, by the way. But if you go visit Iconic Gallery, iconicdesigngallery.com, iconicdesigngallery.com, they got posters and stuff and T-shirts and postcards. But I've been having a ball with these postcards, sending them out to different people. And the pictures on the postcards are actually, we'll have them up tomorrow, but you know, America's nurses say don't let Obama destroy healthcare and such. and the picture of Uncle Sam, I want you to remove the usurper. Fun things. And I'm more interested to see how well they get through the mail. And I don't know. I sent on my first batch this morning, and I just been having a ball with that. But anyway, you got to keep your sense of humor in these times. Now, let's. We're going to go live on video right now, and there we are. Hello, everyone. And go on over to Christians United Broadcasting Network, and you can watch us live if you are so inclined.
Yeah, that's through Justin TV, Cuban Christians United Broadcasting on Justin TV, also at Homeland Security US, #1.tk.
Right, exactly. So, see what we were hoping to do. We were trying to kill a fly that's been in the studio for like a day and a half. Seriously.
Yeah, it has.
And we're not like Obama, where he's got that tongue. No, it wasn't his tongue. I guess he had a hand.
Yeah.
Whipped it out. But anyway, so, folks.
DHS Insider info.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. One of the few times you've actually talked to me about the information shared before an article got out.
Yes.
And it was not promising news, not like it ever is, but
no.
Things are getting tighter in the government as, like, the Lord is taking his people and moving them in the right direction, so they are with the people they need to be with and away from the people they need to be away with. The government is doing the same thing.
That's exactly right. And let me just kind of describe this. After last night's program, I had a couple of phone calls immediately following the program, and then a period of inactivity, and then I'm not going to say how or where or in what format, but I did have a dialogue with with the DHS Insider. I have not published anything on this yet. Actually, the information is weighing rather heavily on my mind, and I mentioned to Joe, my son, here a little bit about what he said. And I'm preparing an article, which will probably come out tomorrow, which will come out tomorrow, if not late tonight. So you guys are the first to hear this. The listeners of this program are the first to hear about this. And Joe, to a certain extent, some of this information. Let me just start out by saying this. The individual I've been corresponding with, which affectionately called Rosebud, and he's given me permission to, well, I'm just not going to go there. Anyway, he has said that it will probably be the last conversation we'll have. And now, it's not as ominous, folks, as you might think by him saying that. It's more of a self-preservation style thing, event. Because here's the situation. He is on the inside of DHS. He's in a position to make a difference. And he had told me he's going to try to make a difference. And now that said, he's got to keep his level of anonymity. He can't come out and say, look, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. So he's got to keep that level of anonymity. And so he said that what the department as a whole, DHS as a whole, is doing right now is closing in on anyone leaking information, anyone who's giving information, anyone who's talking to journalists, except approved journalists. Now think about that. They are actually putting out information. The DHS is actually putting out information for two reasons: to their upper echelon and mid echelon people. They're tracking to see who their people are talking to, and they're also planning misinformation. But the other part is they are also giving information out that they want to get out. Okay, so the information that they want to get out is not accurate, and they know it. And my source had said that some of the information that he was given, he believes to be of that caliber, of that nature, where it's inaccurate. Now, how he knows, it's what the situation is. He said there's a way that you can tell, that he can tell, based on how it comes from, what channels it comes through, and so on. His position is more of a voyeuristic position, though. In other words, he's actually conducting surveillance, if you will, within his own department. Now, that's pretty cool. So it's not someone actually giving him information. He's actually taking the information. Could this information be planted for him? Possibly. But the manner and methods in which he's using is such that it's probably not.
Right. And we've seen, people get information from insiders that has been to throw people off.
Yeah.
And it's not an uncommon practice, actually. It's very common. And this is to convolute the real information from the false information, and that's why discernment is so important. And even us,
Lord.
It's hard to discern what is accurate from what is propaganda, from what is, biased opinion sometimes.
Yeah, and we have to be very careful, because we have a responsibility to you, our listeners, to give you the truth as we know it. Not necessarily our spin on things, not someone else's spin, but the truth as we know it, especially when we're talking at this level of information. So, now, and I'm kind of watching the comments in our interactive chat, which you're invited to join, folks, just by going to BTR, Blog Talk Radio. Go to HomelandSecurityUS.com and click on the right-hand side of the page and to listen to us live. And then just make sure you're on the right date. Click the head when it takes you over to Blog Talk Radio. Hit the proper date for the broadcast, and then it'll bring up a chat box below or beside it, and you'll find it.
Yeah, I want to read while you're talking about this an email real quick. It's from a listener we got that talks about problems with the Blog Talk Radio.
Yes, we're going to get into this.
People have problems. The player that pops up when you open our show page, they say when you hit play, it constantly stops. And so all people usually click the play in your default player. And that's a choice you have under Blog Talk Radio. And yesterday, the 19th, a different show was playing for somebody who was listening to our show, and they clicked play in the default player. And, I'm getting other emails from people saying they're not able to log in, they're not able to listen live, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Some have terrible sound problems, but when the archive comes out, it's perfectly fine. So we do not have all the answers on this, but we do know that we are being audio attacked.
Yeah, audio. That's a good descriptive term, and that was confirmed through the conversation I had with my contact. Now, this conversation lasted just under an hour and 45 minutes, and it was more. I mean, there was a lot of information, a lot of good, detailed information, but the
outlook, no, it's not good.
Well, a lot of legitimate information, I should say, and specific information,
right?
Which I'm going to break down here shortly,
right?
And why am I taking so long? You're probably wondering. Well, no, you've got to understand that.
Trying to make up the story.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of good tales to spin. No, there's a level of responsibility that we have that some of this information given to us raw, given to me raw, given to Joe raw, can. We're entrusted. Well, I'm entrusted with this information. We are entrusted with this information to deliver it in a manner that will not identify the individual that is risking everything to get this information out. Okay, so in other words, I've got to basically temper the information, without being too specific in certain areas, because that would lead right back to them. But, okay, that's why. So it's kind of difficult for me, and I've been wrestling with this all day, trying to figure out exactly how to say things. But one of the things that he said is this. They've got one specific plan. According to this insider, they've got one specific plan that will end up, the ends are the same. I mean, we're going to be broke, hungry, and imprisoned, essentially, in our own areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much like what putting together pieces of information from multiple sources that have talked about the same information in different documentaries and articles throughout, the last 3 or 4 years, pretty much how martial law would be carried out in a way to restrict travel, curfews, and to the reason for the martial law.
Well, okay. There's two things that are going to take place with absolute certainty, and one is going to be a global conflict that is going to result in blowback here in the United States, blowback in the form of unrest, rioting. The second thing that's going to happen is this economic collapse, which is going to have the same effect, but in a much broader fashion. And the timing is currently being worked out at high levels of government. Now, there are people that are coming to and from visiting Obama and visiting other global leaders to carefully orchestrate this collapse, this economic collapse. And to a lesser extent, the global conflict. Now, what does this have to do with DHS? How in the world could DHS really get involved with global conflict or war or anything like that, or even the economy?
Well, they are now a main part of our executive branch of power.
Right.
They are basically the domestic army.
That's right. Watch Valerie Jarrett. Watch what she does. Watch what she says very carefully. That was told flat out to me. Now that's really not specific, but watch her. And watch her, listen to what she's got to say if she speaks. Watch the financial manipulation of metals. Mm-hmm. That is going to be a very strong indicator. The financial manipulation of metals is going to be a very strong indicator of things to come.
I'll check this price of silver right now because it has been increasing over the last few weeks, and we'll see. It's steady today. It's still at 34. It was at 34.78 yesterday. It's at 34.68 right now. So no huge jump there, but yes, it will be not very slow or somewhat slow, but you'll see a sharp rise. And
yes, exactly. When you see the metals going up and spiking dramatically, you're going to know that within 72 hours, within 3 to 5 days, that something is on the horizon economically. Now, whether that is a total collapse or like a 2008 multiplied, exponentially speaking.
Right. And if you remember 2008, Henry Paulson went to the Congress and told them that if they did not pass the bailout, martial law would be immediately enacted in America. And the collapse, the day the stock market dropped, the Dow dropped 777 points on that day. And
it's going to be,
if there's a collapse, they have ways to manipulate the results from the collapse that we would see initially, shutting off the stock market, playing with numbers, not telling people how bad it really is at first, until they siphon all our money out of the banks and et cetera, et cetera.
Now, yeah, and that's problematic because, and I try. Look, folks, what I'm trying to do is give you as much specific information as I can, without compromising the integrity of the source, and also, pointing a big, arrow sign at who's given this to me. But right now, as you said, Joe, in fact, this was said in 2000. Look at 2008, but look at that as being just like a kind of a model for the next. When that happens, you're going to see the dollar decline. You're going to see, when that happens, you're going to see something happen in Europe. Something financial go bad in Europe. That'll give us probably another week, maybe 3 days to a week, and then all out economic collapse here in the United States. But it's going to be,
and look what we're seeing in Europe now. I mean, we're not seeing it because the news is not reporting it. As the lady from Constance said yesterday, she confirmed that there is unrest protesting in Spain and Italy and France or Portugal, Greece. that is not being reported in the United States. They are already going through severe economic problems in certain countries that are in the European Union.
Right. And this look, he said, look, you're going to see a spike, and then possibly a correction, and then a spike that's going to be permanent. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure he did either, but so it's kind of like a spike, and we'll have some time, and then a correction of sorts, like somebody's trying, kind of like, you've got somebody like trying to put out a fire, and all of a sudden, bang, it flashes back up, and it's worse. Well, at that point, once you see that going up really quick, and then an attempt to bring it back down, and it doesn't work, and it goes back up again, well, okay, then at that point, you're going to see something go off in Europe. When I say go off in Europe, I'm talking, now this is pure economic, separating from the geopolitical aspect of things, which I'll get into in a second. And then, of course, the devaluation of our dollar, stuff is going to happen with the dollar. And now, how does he know this? Because that was a question I asked. Well, would he have a banker in there? I mean,
yeah, right. No, it is a good
seriously.
question.
Because, I was getting, really kind of twisted with them a little bit, because
I don't know this person or his job title, or
so anyone who wants to kidnap him and torture him, he wouldn't know.
But
try anyway. Go ahead.
The information it seems that is being talked about in the government circles, whether DHS or EPA, they are letting their agenda be known to certain people, and I'm sure because they have people, these criminal elements in each agencies, in all agencies of the government.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put this in the form of an article for HomelandSecurityUS.com, so you can have it, refer to it. And I'm doing it with a lot of, I've got multiple pages of notes that I took, and I'm just trying to do it in the manner, like I said, the manner where it's direct and unlike right now. Okay, because again, it's a little bit different conversationally than it is in writing. So watch that. Now, when is that going to take place? Don't know. But back to my original question. Like I said, what do you have, a banker in there? I mean, you got a financial advisor you're talking to, or what's the deal? Well, no. Apparently, there is some sort of relationship between somebody within DHS that's close with Napolitano. I don't know who it is. In this, my source does not tell me who it is, but has daily contact with the financial gurus, the people on Wall Street. So there's a direct line between DHS, Napolitano's office, or not Napolitano, but somebody, and I don't know who that other person is, and I was not told, with the bankers, with the Wall Street people. Not all Wall Street people, just the top. We're talking like the Corzines, where he was, that position. Then the second thing, and this is probably more specific, or this is more specific and probably more disconcerting as a fact, and I told you this. The one thing that they can't control is the geopolitical, at least not control completely, is the geopolitical things. DHS is at that level. But understand this, Napolitano is Obama's lapdog. Napolitano will do anything Obama wants her to do. Okay? And that goes for other department heads within DHS, like John Pistoli from the TSA and Morton from ICE. That's another guy to watch, Morton from ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. That's a real big, there's something wrong there. I was told that there's something wrong with the John Morton, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement guy. I mean, I know he's mired in controversy, but that's it. Anyway, let me really quickly. The geopolitical thing, when Israel does go for Iran, the time frame on this, we don't know. Probably around election time, maybe after election time, as far as economics are concerned. Possibly to the end of the year. There's no set plan. That's more reactionary. The geopolitical part of this is the blowback from the Iranian situation, either a false flag in the United States or multiple false flags blamed on the Iranian and Israeli attack or war. Syria and Libya both, and Pakistan, which we're going to get into. Pakistan. Watch Pakistan. They've got the nuclear weapons. They're expecting Pakistan, their government, to go down, Musharraf to go down. and the Al-Qaeda Muslim Brotherhood to grab a hold of the nuclear weapons in Pakistan. That's what they're expecting. That's a wild card. Let me say that again. They're expecting Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, to overthrow the Musharraf government, grab weapons, nuclear weapons, the nuclear weapon arsenal that they have, which includes smaller suitcase nukes. And they're expecting that to happen in a very short period of time. That's going to be like Libya, except without our control. That's a really big wild card.
Yeah.
And the last, but the last thing is when that happens and the fallout occurs, you're going to have cities, major cities. If you live in a major city, for example, New York, Los Angeles, I don't have to name them all, but watch the interstates, the beltways around the different cities, and they are going to place travel restrictions. You're not going to be able to get in or get out of the cities. Okay, well, if you're inside the city, that's where you're going to stay. They're not going to let you out. They're expecting water contamination in this country. Water contamination.
That's scary, because when you think of the amount of people who don't have access to fresh water or a storable water, that is one of the biggest dangers of living in a society without electricity, medicine, hospitals, those kind of things. That was the main reasons we saw in the medieval times, all throughout, pretty much until we became more civilized and technological savvy and medically savvy people. A lot of people died from, contaminated water. Simple things that are not even a worry to us now. If we get sick or even your teeth, you get an abscess tooth. You could die from that.
Yeah.
Back in when they didn't have proper medical care. So,
and the last thing that I want to mention, and then I'll now the cities. I don't have the cities. He just said all big cities. I don't even know what his definition of a big city is. I asked,
and my estimation on what he's talking about is probably there is a basic prototype plan that they, in order to make sure they get a certain amount of control, will be to hit. They probably have a list of 25 to 50 cities that they want to make sure they can lock down.
Well, he kind of basically said, look, I can give you so much, and then the rest you're going to have to research on your own, which I've been doing today as well.
And
because he said you're going to find the answers if you do the research. And
we have
pointed me in the direction of that.
The Council of Governors, the 10 regions of FEMA, and the continuity of agenda plans. When things like disaster, martial law go into effect, our country isn't 50 states; it is 10 regions. And it is governed really by FEMA as far as the logistical support in making sure that the martial law plans are implemented.
Exactly. And one thing he did say that kind of made me feel somewhat good after this disposition of bad news is the fact that if you can survive, if you can make it, and if you can keep your head, and if you're prepared, for a good 6 months, you'll come out of this. You'll come out of this. Now, what is on the other end of that coming out of this, we don't know. Yeah, that's kind of like a wild card. And one last thing he did mention, and I have to look to get some context to this, and I didn't even tell you this. We talked about the anthrax attacks of 2001, and he said, look at that, because there was some talk of late about those attacks. Now, again, contextually, I don't have any type of context in which to offer you, but that would make me believe, like water, perhaps there might be a bio attack, a WMD attack with anthrax. Again, this is my speculation now. When I tossed that back, there was little response. I mean, there was no confirmation. More like throwing his hands up in the air and saying, well, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But by mere mentioning that tells me that there's something to that. And that, folks, ladies and gentlemen, that is the information I have.
And I'm sure you'll see an article soon with more detailed information. Jason, Jeff, and Sheila, we are going to get to your calls after we hit this story. I got an audio here from Ben Swan reality check what is QE3 and what it means for the U.S. economy. And we're going to play this. It's a 4-minute video, and this is a must listen.
Yeah, pay attention to this.
By national media, but a major event took place late last week, one that will have a massive effect on the money in your wallet, your ability to buy goods and services, and ultimately your future. It's something called QE3, and tonight, what it means for you. This is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Let's start with what QE3 even means. QE, it's short for quantitative easing. The 3, because since the Wall Street mess of 2008, there have been 2 other attempts at quantitative easing by the Federal Reserve. So let's take this one step at a time. What is quantitative easing? The most simple way to explain it, most Americans know of only one economic theory. It's called Keynesian theory. The idea is that when the economy is slow, the government or central bank must stimulate it. Now, one way to do that is for the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank, not a branch of government, orders the printing of new money and lowers interest rates. That is quantitative easing, leveling out drops in the market. By putting that money into the economy, Keynesian theory says that people will start spending, banks will start lending, people will borrow, and the economy will get back to humming along. That is Keynesian economic theory. So, if we're talking about QE3, doesn't that mean there have been 2 other forms of quantitative easing since 2008? Well, yes. The first round of quantitative easing came in late 2008 under President George W. Bush. In order to resolve the housing crisis, the Fed initiated purchases of $500 billion in mortgage-backed securities. Because remember, bad mortgages were the problem, right? In late 2008, the Fed cut the key interest rate to near zero. QE1. A year later, Bernanke was at it again, though. QE2 was different from QE1. Under QE2, from November of 2010 to June of 2011, the Federal Reserve went to work buying up $600 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds to spur the economy. But again, it didn't work. But since QE2 funds didn't fuel economic growth in the U.S., what did they do? Well, it put additional cash reserves in European banks. During the QE2 funding period, cash reserves of foreign banks grew from $308 billion to $940 billion. The same amount as the increase in the Fed's reserve balance. So, let's be clear. QE1 printed money, gave it to banks to fix the mortgage crisis, but it didn't work. The average person wasn't helped, but banks got billions of dollars. Then QE2 printed money, gave it to foreign banks to spur the economy, and it didn't work. But European banks got billions of dollars. I bet you can guess what QE3 does. To start with, we really shouldn't call it QE3. We should more correctly call it QE infinity. Because while other quantitative easing efforts had ending points, this one does not. Last week, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke announced the Federal Reserve will purchase $40 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities indefinitely from financial institutions. They will also keep interest rates at 0% until at least 2015. So how will this help you? It won't. Borrowers won't see any help from this, but the profit will go to, guess who? The banks. So what you need to know is that there's no evidence that QE anything will create jobs, encourage lending, borrowing, or spending. The last 4 years have proven that. But there is a hard truth here. The Federal Reserve Bank, through Bernanke and under Keynesian theory, believe that they have to keep printing currency and giving it to banking institutions and keep interest rates near zero in order to hide how massive our debt is. The hard truth? The other economic school of thought, called Austrian economics, says it will all crash. But the longer the Federal Reserve Bank keeps prolonging corrections in the market that have to happen at some point, the more pain there will be. QE3 or QE infinity, whatever you want to call it, just means that day of reckoning, which is coming, will be all that more severe when it gets here. And that is Reality Check. If you'd like to make your voice heard on the story, you can head over to my Facebook page. You can find it so easily by searching Ben Swan, WXIX.
And there you have it. Ben Swan, Reality Check. He is a up-and-comer, as Alex Jones stated. I did catch his interview. He was on Alex Jones, and I saw that, and I was surprised, and I mentioned that the other day on the show because I was thinking of getting him on our show, you know. And this guy really is not afraid to tell the truth, and he is on a local Fox affiliate.
I just wonder how long he's going to be able to keep that up.
Right, and I would urge everybody to go to YouTube and subscribe to his channel. And there's so many good videos on there describing more in depth of what is really going on than you will find anywhere else in the mainstream media, and it's very important. But moving on, I'm going to mention this headline, and just a quick couple sentences, we're going to go to the phones. Janet Napolitano and Obama ready to sign surveillance grid executive order. Homeland Security boss told Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee at a hearing on Wednesday that blatantly unconstitutional Obama administration executive order is still being drafted in the interagency process and is close to completion depending on a few issues that need to be resolved at the highest levels. Now, this is due to the Congress and Senate not passing the cybersecurity bill.
Right.
So a man by the name of Ashton Carter, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, said at a conference in San Francisco that cyber will overtake terrorism as the persistent, gnawing, constant at us kind of threat and danger.
That's a backhanded way of saying it, but yeah, it's like constant. It's the way to just keep us off track. Look, this cybersecurity executive order has everything to do with what's coming.
Yeah, and in short, if enacted or pushed through by executive mandate, the legislation would nullify the Fourth Amendment on the Internet. The Pentagon, NSA, military-industrial complex tried to shove the monstrosity down our throats by ramming it through Congress, but now the legislative effort and months of scary propaganda have failed, and they will resort to the tired and true practice of having their selected teleprompter reader issue an executive fiat. And that executive fiat is an executive order, and the word fiat is used because the executive orders that are unconstitutional, or any laws that are unconstitutional, are null and void.
Yeah, and that's a question from the chat room. What did my source tell me about this? That I assume that, meaning this executive order, that this is in response. This is one of the final preparations being made for control of information, nothing else. This is not about cybersecurity. This is about cyber control. This is about control of what is said. The only place, and this was kind of drilled to me, and I probably should have mentioned this as one of the higher points, but let me tell you, it was kind of a heady thing to hear this, heavy and heady, but one of the things that was said was, look, they can't control a lot of this stuff that's going on the Internet. They can control it by region, by government, like, for example, Google can, or YouTube, or whatever, they can prevent somebody in Indonesia from downloading that film, that Innocence of Muslims.
Yeah.
But they can't control all of the information here in the United States, and this is what this bill is designed to do, and that's muzzle people like us.
And what they're doing is trying to use, copyright infringement claims of, hackers, and we know that the United States is one of the biggest promoter and creators of viruses that, like the Stuxnet, for instance.
Exactly.
It is just completely ridiculous.
That was all U.S. made, by the way. Israel had nothing to do with that virus, that Stuxnet.
Okay, I hadn't seen that.
I'm sorry. That was something that was, again, said to me.
Yeah.
So much was talked about. Okay, and I've got, like I said, multiple pages of notes. By the way, they are copied, and someone else has a copy, and they're also in the mail to another country. So anybody who wants to,
We're going to go to the phones now. We were going to also get into, there was an airstrike on Syrian gas station that killed 30. Also, the United States is probing whether the Benghazi attackers, the ones who killed Ambassador Stevens, had inside help.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. But with that, we're going to the phones. First in line is Jason. Jason, you're on the air with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
God bless both of you. How are you doing tonight?
Excellent.
Very well, Jason.
Good, good. Well, my heart has been very, very heavy lately, and I've been getting dreams very frequently. And I had a dream recently that I was I was in my town. It's here in Green Ridge, here in it's near Scranton, Pennsylvania, and what I saw was basically a bunch of troops in the street with their arms drawn and helicopters flying through the air. So all I want people to know is we are really, really close to a nuclear attack on the United States. And I say that because there has been so much. If you go on YouTube and look at people that are being spoken to by the Lord, it's coming, guys. And my soul has been so heavy, and I've just been feeling really heavy with the Spirit to get it out to people, but I have no venue to do it, but you guys do.
Well, you're doing it not, Jason. You've got the ear of worldwide. Right now, you have a worldwide audience, and I mean, I'm not trying to, brag or anything like that, but we touch. I mean, we're pretty popular, so you've got the floor. And speak your mind, my friend. Share.
We have to repent. The world, not just the United States. The world has to repent. If you're an atheist, you have to come to your knees immediately and ask God if He's real. Because I was there. I was at a point in my life when I was younger, because I'm only 28, okay? I was in high school in Pennsylvania, where it was cool to be an atheist. And, oh, yeah, let's sing songs that are about how God is not real and God is just a piece of bleep, okay? I came to the Lord through tribulation, through really, really bad stuff that happened to me. And He's real, okay?
Jason, I want to cut in on you real quick here. One of the words, first thing I woke up this morning and opened my Bible, I came across this scripture in John chapter 6. It says, "All that come to me, I will never drive away." And on my mind were all the people who have tragedies or find a falling out with the Lord. And, it's not because He left these people. It is because these people chose to blame Him or use Him as an excuse.
Amen, Joe.
We need to realize that He will not leave us.
That's right.
No matter what happens in our lives, we need to stay with Him like He stays with us. And that's right.
Amen.
That's what you're talking about.
Amen, Joe. Joe, God, oh, wow, that was incredible. Very good. And that's the case. Once He comes to you, and if you come to your knees, whoever's listening, if you don't believe in God, you just need to ask Him if He's real. Because it's going to happen. He is going to touch you and tell you, I am real. Okay? That's what happened to me. I saw The Passion of the Christ in 2004, and it just blew my mind. All right? I saw it in the theater, actually. When was it in the theater? Like 2002, something like that?
Yeah, I think my daughter was 13, and we were trying to decide whether she should see it. So that would have been about that, about 2004.
Okay, around 2002. I saw it then, and it hit me so hard. It hit me. I was always a Christian because my mom brought me up to be a Christian. But when I saw that film, it lit the fire.
Right.
And in 2004, I had a lot of stuff that happened to me that I came to my knees to Him, and He saved me. He saved me, period. I mean, He saved me from... I have a testimony on my website, and I just want people to see...
What's your website, my friend? Go ahead, Jason. I mean, take it.
RevelationNews.net.
Okay, RevelationNews.net. For those who want to read Jason's testimony, which I think it's important. I think people need to read how others have come to know and accept God, accept Christ as their Savior, go to revelationnews.net.
Doug, God bless you. Thank you so much. But I didn't want to plug. All I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, the blood of Christ is salvation. The blood of Christ. When you call out to Him, when you call out to the name of Jesus, you're going to get saved. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care your past. I don't care if you sang songs that said God is dead and no one cares, and if there is a hell, I'll see you there. That's a Nine Inch Nails song, and I love Nine Inch Nails for a long time. And what I'm saying is salvation is available to everybody that will humble themselves and ask, are you real, God?
Right.
I'm not going to take any more time because I know there's a lot of people that call into your show. I love you guys, and you're doing the work of the Lord, and I pray that He anoints you guys with finances.
Well, thank you, Jason. I got to tell you, we're blessed. Okay, we're going to do this regardless of finances, but we're blessed, and people have helped us, and we want to thank everyone. There have been some very, very generous people. When I say, I mean relative to us, generosity is relative anyway, but we are blessed, aren't we not, Joe?
Absolutely, and what you said about doing it no matter what is true. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't.
If we had to pay for the expenses of the show ourselves, without advertisers, and if people didn't contribute, I would get a job to be able to do this.
Look, I'll deliver paper.
I would get a job. I would bust my ass 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours a day, anywhere to fund what you're doing, Doug and Joe.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and look, Jason, you in your own right have done a lot, and you've gone through a lot. I got to tell you, man, not too many people would still be standing after what you went through. And folks, for the people that don't know this, Jason is a gentleman who was on Blog Talk Radio talking about Jesus, talking about his spirituality, talking about the things we talk about too, combining the two things. And of course, somebody had one of his friends, and betrayal is a big thing, by the way, right now.
And personal betrayal. Around. Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
And somebody had betrayed Jason or set him up, and he was involuntarily committed. Okay, now just like that Brandon Robb was involuntarily committed to a.
I had a Judas, Doug.
Yes. So now you know what, Jason. A lot of people would not stay standing after that. And I'll tell you something. It's more than the secular end of things. Because right now, the battles that are being waged are not just on the secular level. They're being waged on the spiritual level.
You better believe it.
So, and I got to say one thing that kind of dovetails with what you're saying. This morning, the contact I had with my DHS source, that was the only time we talked about God. The only time. And I'm sharing this with our listening audience only. I'm not going to put this in writing. That was the only time we talked about spirituality and God. And that means
it's true, Doug.
Well,
it's coming. It's coming. And I've been telling a lot of my people, a lot of people that I talk to, a specific, very close friend of mine, that nuclear war is coming. It's coming. And we must come to the throne of God. And I'm speaking to non-believers, and I know probably with your show it's probably preaching to the choir because most of us are saved. But if there is one, Doug and Joe, one atheist that listens to your show that decides to come to their knees and ask God, "Are you real? Show me." And if we save them, guess what? We got a lot of treasures in heaven, brothers.
I agree with you, and I think that if we can convert lead. There you go, guys.
The mustard seed of faith.
Indeed.
I mean, just get across to have somebody think twice about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even Thomas Jefferson, I think, was the one that said, "Question with boldness even the very existence of God." But, this is something that we don't need physical proof of. At least I don't and never have, because it's been in my ingrained inside me, and it's ingrained inside all of us. We just have to activate that, and it happens at different times for different people, and there's.
But Jason, I mean, look, I want to thank you very much for being a part of our program and being the guy that you are, because one thing I know that you're genuine, and that's important and you've got integrity and character.
Doug, are you kidding me? I want to thank you for letting me come on your show and speak my voice.
No,
because
get that. I mean, look, you know,
because your show is anointed, and that's why every time I come on, I want to encourage people to give as much as they can to you, because your show is anointed. You're getting the message out in a different way. I mean, you are like, if Alex would go all the way, really go all the way with his show and be a prophecy show, do you realize how many souls he would save?
No.
Yeah. And Jason, I think you're going to see a move to one side or the other very soon.
I was just going to say that, because people...
Oh, my God. Well, I just got chills, Joe. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just trust us on that, buddy.
That's incredible. Oh, my... Praise God. Well, I love you guys. I'm sorry I took so much of your time. I'm sorry.
But never apologize, because we've got a dump button. We could dump you anytime, so... It's
okay.
never apologize.
Well, we have a whole list.
But thank God, Jason, for you and for your testimony, and RevelationNews.net.
Praise you guys, and just please, guys, whoever's out there has got a couple bucks to give, $5, just $3, $2.
Right, that's right.
Go to Homeland Security. What is it? Homeland Security dot.
We know your website. Come on,
HomelandSecurityUS.com.
Yeah, look, but don't worry about it, Jason. God bless you. Have a good night. We're going to move on to other callers, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to skip through. We're just going to take the callers as they come in. See you, Jason.
Yeah, we got a lot of calls. Thanks, Jason.
Give to Doug and Joe. God bless you guys.
All right.
God bless you, Jason. And we have a full bank of callers. Maybe let's just skip the.
Let's just try to go through. We've got to.
Yeah, for everybody on hold, we're gonna get to every one of you guys. So if the callers can keep it semi-quick, we appreciate it. Next in line is Jeff from Massachusetts.
Hi, Jeff.
You guys, Doug and Joe, how you doing, guys?
Good, man.
Well, I got two things to share. One, just to talk about that insider from Homeland Security, I'll tell you the cities that God showed to me are going to be destroyed. Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C. Those are your main cities. Watch out for that. But the main topic of the call is Soviet subversion of the free press, and this is an interview by Ed Griffin and Yuri Bezmenov. You have to watch the video, but any of you can get the transcript of the interview, and Yuri Bezmenov talks about 4 stages. He's a former KGB defector, and we are close to the second to last stage, which is crisis and normalization.
Right.
We already went through the demoralization. We already went through we already went through the ideological subversion. Now we are on our way to the crisis. The crisis means when the cities get destroyed, pink terror, and then normalization. When you have normalization after a strong dictator gets in, it's over. Unless there's a move of God, or unless something radical happens. Watch out for normalization, because Obama is going by the Yuri Bezmenov playbook. He's going by the Soviet playbook, word by word, letter by letter, and what communists have done for decades. And people don't even realize it. Any of you, his name is Bezmenov, Bezmenov, with an honorable mention to Stanislav Lunev, Jan Seja, the source for Joseph Douglas' Red Cocaine and other books. Many books out there. You don't have to be a prophet to see this. The Soviet defectors have already said it. God bless, guys, and have a good night.
God bless you, Jeff. And interestingly enough, I just learned about who that character was. Who did he mention? I just read that in that book, that Lenin for Beginners. He was right in there on top.
Well, that video is, if at some point here tonight, we'll put it up in the chat room. That's an older video, I believe. If it was done in 1984, I'm fairly certain, or thereabouts in the early 80s. If that's the same one Jeff's talking about. If not, there's one out there that you've got to watch in the early 80s. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, we're going to move on to Sheila, then going to 214, then 413. Sheila, you are on the air with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Hi, Joe. Doug, how you doing tonight?
Good, Sheila.
Wonderful.
You know, I've learned in the midst of all this stuff we got going on around us, you know, I've had to get on my face because there's so much going on, you can't take it all in, you know, and I pray, Lord, you know, what's going on? I can't figure all this out, and he just simply said to me, I don't want you to figure it all out. Just know what I show you.
Amen.
You know, because you know, you talk about quantitative easing and all that. You know, I read an article on WND over that, but it was such a long article, and I couldn't understand 90% of what was written there.
Yeah, I know.
But I did read that they found gold in Manhattan that was fake.
Oh yeah.
And it was. Did you see that? It was still with something to do with the weight of it.
Yeah, they are making, actually, there are unscrupulous people and, of course, sanctioned bankers that are actually keeping gold they'll gold plate a specific metal that has the same weight and density as gold, or close to it. I shouldn't say the same, but close to it. And this is one way that yeah, it's happening. But if you look, I don't want to pimp out my articles, and I apologize for using that language, but I've got an article on just that. It's a lot shorter than WorldNet Daily's article. It's called the Greatest Fraud in History at HomelandSecurityUS.com, and I approach it from a layman's point of view, because I got to tell you, Sheila, I hated economics in school, hated it, and didn't understand it, and I needed. And I didn't care. I really didn't care about it until all of a sudden, you know, I'm paying $5 a gallon for gas, and I'm thinking, okay, why is this happening? And I'll tell you what, it just you know, check the article out and read it and tell me if you know, at some other time, or send me an email, tell me if it helped you, because you'll understand it. It's pretty easy.
Well, I go on your site and read your articles. They're very easy to understand, but. I was reading today over on Alex Jones's website about they're pushing the sustainable development in Texas.
Yes. Yep.
Evidently, they are definitely making a big push on that, and I guess they're planning on people taking transit. And good luck with that.
Well,
you know, but
last night
go ahead.
In Paris, they are blocking cars from major roads now, from using major roads. It is a Agenda 21 in concept, but it is now being implemented in France, and we will see more of this type of...
Yeah, Constance talked about that last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to start to see a push on, but Fox News didn't say anything about that. Nobody's talking about it. I don't know if you saw this today or not, but Obama wants to change the flag.
Oh, no, he is selling a flag that is on, if you go to the whitehouse.gov or any of Obama campaign sites, you will see a flag with some light blue and red stripes, and the Obama logo, where the star should be.
Oh, so he don't want to change the flag permanent. I mean,
no,
something
right.
It's a promotional campaign it's issue, but still, I mean, this man is, desecrating the flag,
Well, I'm thinking, what if, all this is taking place, I've almost got the feeling that he thinks he's going to stay in the White House.
Oh, no, he is going to stay in the White House. And you know what? This is one more thing, and this is the reason I didn't bring all the points out, because I just want to hit the high points. Another thing, DHS, look, they're resigned to the fact that, or at least my contacts resigned to the fact that Obama's going to stay in there. But he said this: look, anything can happen just as a sleight of hand, as a dog and pony smoke and mirrors to make the people, if it's going to advance the globalist agenda, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they could switch plans on election night if they want.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everything's fluid. So if you think that you've got your handle and you've got your head around one specific plan, no, you don't.
Yeah.
So, but Sheila,
No.
Look, just take it easy as far as the news is concerned, and watch the stories that are not being reported.
I do. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He'll keep your path straight.
Great instruction manual, isn't it? The Bible.
Exactly. I can't live without it.
No.
Without the Lord in our lives, we would not have any hope.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine.
We would be just like,
Yeah.
We would not know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Sheila, God bless you, man.
Yeah, is there anything else you got on your mind before we let you go?
No, I just want to let you know, you guys keep doing what you're doing, and pass some of that dry air you were talking about last night, Doug, to Washington, because they need to shut up. Remember when you went silent for a couple minutes?
Yeah, the dead
1 minute.
Yeah.
Dead air.
Yeah, it's all for radio, All right. Will, God bless you. Take care.
Yeah, okay, you take care.
Thanks, Sheila. Have a good night.
Bye.
Yeah, dead air is always good for radio, It's like,
yeah, that'll bring listeners.
Yeah.
Moving along, we're going to go to Jan. Jan in Texas. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Excellent.
Something today and yesterday happened that has never happened before when I've called the comment line to the president. I've been doing it for 5 years. Yesterday and today, they are asking me some, not all, for my area code. And I would not give it to them. 2 yesterday and 2 today hung up on me when I wouldn't. And I just found that interesting. And if the supervisor told me it's on the screen in front of them, the area code and, of course, the phone number, and I said, well, if it's on the screen in front of you, why are they asking me for my area code? I said, I've been calling for 5 years and never, ever had this, and I just thought I would bring that to your attention.
Okay, that's one thing that they are attempting to do, and we're going to get into this in a little bit. Well, I'll tell you right now, folks. They are... and Joe has information on this in kind of a way that fits. What they are trying to do right now is they're trying to identify people who are the troublemakers. Okay, we talk about lists.
Manuals, DHS, FBI has. There's the reports to the 30 different industries, internet cafes, construction workers, grocery stores, hotels. They say if you don't want room service or the people that come in to change your sheets, request a specific room. It's possible terrorism activity. If you want to hide your screen at an internet cafe, that's a possible sign of terrorism. And we have more today about what they are putting on training manuals for domestic terrorism.
Yeah, So look, you're right in not. Look, I would not give out my area code for any type of demographic survey for the White House or for any other government agency. You did right in not giving out your area code. That doesn't mean that they don't know who you are, but hey, why make it easy for them?
Well, absolutely. When I talked to the supervisor, I said I'm not under any illusion that you don't know where I'm calling from, but if it's sitting there in front of the screen, why are you asking me? Is it for...
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's just bizarre to me.
And me, personally, I would, knowing they know, I would have lied to them, gave them the wrong area code.
No, but if it's on the screen in front of them, they know you're lying.
Well, yeah, and that's true. But again, this is to condition you mentally in thinking, hey, the more information, this is normal. This is a conditioning process. Just like, for example, if you went to the grocery store and used your ATM card or debit card or whatever you call those things to buy groceries, which, my wife does it. We do it. And they looked at you and said, "Okay, we need your social." Or some bizarre question they would throw at you. What I'm saying, if they would do this, you would look at it as like conditioning, because that's exactly what they're starting to do. They're conditioning you to give information that you really don't have to give, whether it's your area code, whether it's your body weight, body mass index, I don't know, age. It's that mindset. And okay, now again, you'll have to really trust me on this, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to give out more information. Because if I ask you 20 questions and I throw in a question in there, hey, what's your Social Security number, or something irrelevant, you're more inclined to answer that. It's psychology.
Right.
But it's interesting that you report that. Good.
Well, just the last 2 days out of 5 years.
Isn't that something?
Yes, I kind of thought so. And just to say, Lucy, who calls in from Tennessee, I am so kindred spirit and on board with how she views things. And Dave's comments last night about the beautiful woman in France, it was just marvelous. I grew up in the days when masculine and feminine were real words, and Mr. and Mrs., and I'm so sorry we've lost so much of that in our country.
We have. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's important to know that we've lost. I mean, it's important to recognize that, I should say.
Oh, yes, we have. But with you guys, we're going to, and all your listeners, we're going to get it back. So thank you guys for taking my call.
Well, thanks for calling.
Absolutely.
God
Anytime, Jan.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We got a great audience. We really do.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it going here.
All right, we're gonna go next to Doreen. Doreen, you're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Yeah, there we go. Hi, Doreen.
Hi, Joe and Doug.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can. In stereo, no less.
Okay. Oh, okay. I have a question for Doug, because this is open lines and we get to call in and voice our opinions, but with all the information that you gather, I can't imagine being inside your head, Doug.
It's a freak show.
And Joe. Yeah, but
it's like two monkeys fighting over a banana up there in my head. Trust me.
Oh, I'm telling you, just listening makes my head spin, and I was just wondering if you could maybe give us some reflection on what your thoughts are after all of the things that you've gathered from your DHS person, over the past 24 hours. What are your feelings? What do you think? How are you I want to know what you think.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of information, and the first inclination or the first feeling I have is this really? Is this real? Is this true? Can this be true? Could I be lying? I mean, could they be lying to us? But I can assure you, the integrity of the person I'm talking to is in fact solid. Now, that said, I will say this: I'm more concerned about trying to make it digestible and coherent. Okay, that's my concern. Without giving the people that are listening to and watching this show and watching perhaps others, in the Department of Homeland Security, the opportunity to identify my source and let him do what he needs to do. And part of what he needs to do, or what he says he's going to do, is attempt to be a monkey in the ointment, a fly in the ointment, that is, I'm sorry. I got monkeys on my mind, apparently. A fly in the ointment to the plans. Now, is he in a position to do so? Probably not alone, but hey, with God's help and with other people that have a similar mindset, that's it. But what's in my head? Look, I like you, like everyone else listening to this program, I'm still trying to digest it. I'm not Steve Quayle. I'm not Greg Evenson. I'm not Henry Groover. I don't have that gift of...
You do break it down into bite-sized pieces, though. It becomes a lot more tangible after you decipher the information and you give it out to us.
Well, see, that's the only way.
At this point, I'm thinking, okay, the one thing that came across my mind the most tonight after listening and digesting what you were saying was water source. Okay, biological, nuclear, because Jason came on, and there's a lot of that thought out there right now, and people that have dreams and visions and things. I myself am not one of those people. I'm deciphering just like most of us are. I'm trying to decipher with God's discernment, But that's what caught my attention the most tonight, Doug, was the water source and what form that would take. That so many people, it must be nuclear. I don't know.
I am not sure, outside of the fact that it'll most likely be a weapon of mass destruction. I'm not exactly sure. Nuclear, biological, chemical, I don't know.
Right.
I'm worried more about economic collapse than I am of any type of nuclear, explosion in the U.S., but I know that it is not something, these people are pure evil. They will do anything it takes.
Joe, exactly, Joe. When it comes right down to it, don't you think somewhere in the back of your mind, don't you think that because this whole thing is boiling over economically, that any of these things could be done to thwart or to throw everybody off target? It is economic. When everything's going smooth, we don't have this kind of we've never had this kind of nonsense before, but we're about to go right over the cliffs.
Right. At the end of the day, it's all about money. It's all about the Benjamin.
Yep.
That's one thing that was abundantly made clear to me in the middle of the night, if you will. It's all about the Benjamins. That was said. Those are the exact words for my. It's all about the money. It's all about the Benjamins.
And Joe, you're right. There are some evil, wicked people out there, and they're chasing the Benjamins, and they're going to do whatever it takes.
Yes.
And that's the sad truth about it.
The bottom line, whatever it takes by any means necessary, the ends justify the means in their mind, no matter what.
Right.
And it's sad.
But I think it's interesting that, Doug, your source said, if you can get through 6 months worth of time, then it'll be different, or you'll be able to get through, better after that, or whatever.
Right.
But that goes back to biblical things, not necessarily 6 months, but 5 months does. 5 months worth of time, and I don't know. All kinds of little things are ticking off in my head right now from what you just informed us of today. In terms of, it does sound like it's going to be fairly soon.
I can't. It could be
tomorrow. It could be a year.
Boy, I wish that we had. Look, and this is one thing the individual that I spoke with had a difficult time with, because I was really pressuring for time. Give me a time, and of course it got a little bit heated there for a while. What do you want, a date? Is that what you want?
So no wonder you started talking about. Who started talking about God? You or them?
Boy, that was kind of a mutual.
Was it?
Yeah, it was mutual.
Because and it was the very first time.
It was the very first time that he, and for the sake of out of respect for him, I'm not going to exactly get into what we talked about, but he it was a very personal thing with him. I'll say that, and it was probably one of the first times that he ever we talked about biblical and God and the Bible and God and spiritual things, and he look, and this. I don't think I'm talking out of school by saying he's really not. Up until the last few months, I don't think he's been a very very well. Last few months have been an eye-opening experience for him, spiritually, that is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, bless you both. You're doing amazing things for God's sake, and I just pray that you continue on. I think that we're all better off because you guys are doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. And we're better off to have people like you and all of our listeners who are so supportive that we can't even describe in words. I mean, honestly, how much love and how blessed we are. I mean, I can't describe it.
Yeah,
Thank you, and you guys keep it real. You know, I can, and I'm going to speak for the listening audience. I think we can tell that it's just genuine with you guys. That you're getting, I mean, you started off in, way back during, the whole 911 thing, and you started off on one track, and here you are today with so much more information that you've been able to decipher yourself and then give to us. And it's opening our eyes. It always comes back to God, though, every time.
It does.
He's the only one He's the only one that has the answers that we need.
Yeah, and He will show us what we need to see when He knows we need to see it. I mean, things run on His time, not on ours.
Yeah.
So we need to have patience. Is there anything else, Doreen, before we let you go?
I'm going to get off the phone and let your next caller come on.
Our next caller is Radio Preacher Man, the one and only RPM. And Doreen, we appreciate your call so much. God bless you. You have a wonderful night, and thank you for calling. All right. We are going to move on now to a special guest, a special man, somebody who needs no introduction, really. Most of our listeners know who he is. Radio Preacher Man, known as RPM. Hey, RPM,
How are you, boys?
God bless you.
Yeah. God bless you guys. I just wanted to call and give you all a word of encouragement in the midst of all this adversity. Wow.
Lay it on.
It's like we don't know what's the next shoe to drop, do we, boys?
No, we don't. No, we don't. And for our listeners who are unfamiliar, Radio Preacher Man has as a radio show, our Revelations Per Minute, Radio Preacher Man, RPM. You guys can be heard on BTR and the Christians United Broadcasting Network. He's a man of God. We like him, we trust him, and actually he's a good-looking guy. So there you have it.
Oh, geez. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You must have been seeing me the last few days since I put the tie on.
Hey, you clean up well. But that said, what word of encouragement? We need that. We need that. What can you offer us? Seriously, what can you offer us?
Well, I tell you, just keep your chins up no matter what comes your way. If you're falsely accused and held up to ridicule, don't worry about it. God's got your back. God knows what you're doing. He knows you're taking a stand for the little man. You're watching out for the people of this country and of the world. I mean, we are in the midst of terrible things worldwide. And I tell you, Doug Hemp was on my show a couple hours ago, and I couldn't believe. I mean, I've seen his book, and we've talked before, but the things that they're doing with DNA altering, it's already happening. We see things in the news, and we forget about them. There's so much going on. You know how they've made where they put the jellyfish DNA in a pig, he reminded me, and I've seen that picture.
Yeah.
In Taiwan, I think. And you start mixing species together, and that blows my mind. But I'm thinking, these are the kind of things that are going to be coming down the pike in the not-so-distant future, fellas. I mean, first, we're going to see some terrible things, economic collapse, hopefully not FEMA camps, but we just don't know what to expect next.
Well, we've got somewhat of a good idea, I think, and you mentioned the FEMA camps. I had a conversation that prior to my contact with a caller who I know who's got some good military contacts, and there are look, you expect these FEMA camps to be help centers, refugee centers. This is where you're going to be able to get food at, because there are going to be people. Along with this economic collapse, you're not going. The people, the 47% that are getting food stamps, gone. Okay, so what do you do to quell the rioting? You go to these, and again, this is a mixture of information now, but they're going to be offering the food at these camps, and they know people are starving. So, what better way to get people to cooperate? But I don't want.
They're going to try to get them in there willingly.
Well, at first,
and,
yes.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Didn't you say earlier, too, the people in the big cities, they're going to kind of lock the cities down or something if they declare, like, martial law?
Travel restrictions based on the outer beltways.
Curfews, things that we see in other countries. I would say, military TSA-style checkpoints, even in local neighborhoods, to interstates that are completely off limits unless you have some kind of special permission.
That's right. Gas.
Right, so this is a gradual. It gets worse and worse. I mean, but if you're out of town and they declare martial law, you'll likely be able to get home at first, don't you think? And the first occurrences, and then they're going to say we'll be home by dark, and then they'll start. So it gets gradually more and more controlling. And we're seeing this kind of thing, but if you take it to a biblical perspective, Lord have mercy. The Antichrist wants to make it where you can't buy or sell anything without the mark of the beast, which, I tell you, some of the things that are in the Bible, gentlemen, I think that the DNA alteration is going to play a big part. I've always been baffled by the fact that in the end times that men will want to die and won't be able to die. And I can see it now, that with DNA alteration, if they inject the devil's DNA per se or some demonic DNA in with your DNA and it forms with yours and multiplies with yours and you become something other than human, this would explain why you might not be able to die. It would also explain why you would not be offered salvation at that point because you've altered your DNA to the point you're not human. So this gets really deep, and that's just, I'm mind-boggled. I don't know what to think about even the basic stuff that you all are covering nightly with the threat of martial law and FEMA camps and food shortages. These things, they're mind-boggling, gentlemen.
Well,
it's almost overwhelming for folks.
Just kind of mentally recapping that pretty intense meeting that I had. I just want to say this: one thing that was said is 95% of what you hear on the news, it doesn't matter. You don't have to know how 95% of what you hear, the headlines, are unimportant compared to what is not being reported. That's what you have to watch. What's not being reported. What Fox is not reporting, and this is not an indictment on Fox. On all the stations, it's that 5% that's not being reported that you've got to watch. So, yeah, it's rough.
So that's where you guys come in handy. You're the 5% reporters, I guess.
Well, I'd like to think that.
I don't know. I think
I hope we're somewhat close, right?
I think there's less than 5%. RPM, you are definitely on the front lines, right there with us. Pastor Paul Begley, we have Rick Wilds, we have Greg Evenson, a couple other people,
and Greg's going to be with us on Tuesday.
That's pretty much the most, or all of the people I know that are really, truly in it to further spread the word of the Lord.
Oh, and RPM, since I have you, or since you're on the line, and you are on the front lines, one other thing, and this goes to talk show. This goes to the host, the people that are getting information out. Look, there's a plan. There's a plan to harass, to intimidate, to make your life miserable. Not you personally, but us in general. That was confirmed to me, and trust me on this. That will not be pleasant, and it's not going to be necessarily a physical type of intimidation, but it's just gonna get worse and worse with marginalization and attacks on character and a whole bunch of stuff. So you know what? Yeah, it's gonna get rough. So just take care of yourself, and that I would say to all the talk show hosts and the people that are reporting the news as it should be reported.
Wow. Well, thanks for the warning, I guess.
Yeah, I hope I made your night.
Do you think it's going to be spiritual also, this attack that you're referencing? I mean, is it going to be coming from the spiritual realm too, or are you thinking mainly in the physical realm?
Well, that was one thing. That was part of the God aspect of the conversation. He said this whole thing is so. I'm not going to use exact words, but it can only come from one place, and it's not of terrestrial or earthly quality. It's not of terrestrial origin. So,
and I got a comment here. I got a question here in chat. They're asking us and you, RPM. They say, are we being prepared for a new Jewish world order under the international pro-Israel, pro-Zion banking families of the Rothschilds and Rockefellers? And my answer to that is yes, but it is not a Jewish New World Order. If you read Revelations chapter 3, verse 9, I think, God speaks about who these people are that claim to be Jews in the last days as the synagogue of Satan. And I just wanted to clarify that for you, that for the person in chat, that even though these people claim to be Jewish, they are not, and it is written in the Bible that is the case.
Yeah, they're as much Jews as Hitler was a Christian. So.
Yes. I'm beginning to see the light more and more. These are things that I had not had even exposure to until I started this broadcast and started having interesting guests on. The whole thing is new to me about, Zionism, I always just thought, hey, Israel is God's chosen people, and they're going to be blessed in the end times, big revivals coming. I never knew and gave much thought to that passage, Joe, about those that are, it's like they're Jews, but they're not really, and they're obviously not. They're the same. Now, I have talked about that from the beginning of my show. It's that spirit of the Pharisee is still alive and well, so I did start to realize that even from the very beginning, because these are the people, I'll guarantee you, if you trace back their lineage, they're the same people that crucified Jesus Christ on the cross. It's very, very deep and wide and evil. Oh, I mean, it just goes on and on. I can't even fathom, man, how deep this story is.
Well, we should really do a show on the lineage of Cain, and talk about, are these the descendants of Cain? Is this the Bible talks about bloodlines, and they keep that very sacred. They want their families' bloodlines, and that's one thing we see with the Illuminati. They are obsessed with bloodlines, and I wonder if that is not because they are making sure they keep their bloodlines in order the way they're supposed to be with the bloodlines of Cain.
That's right.
That's a good possibility. I mean, I've seen a little bit about the bloodlines, and even in a lot of the leadership of the world, they still have that same family heritage, the family bloodline. And, that's something that would require some more in-depth study. But I wouldn't be surprised at all, then, if the Antichrist is of that bloodline. Joe, I mean, I really think that there's a connection. And this is what I'm telling you. The whole story of the Word of God and what we're living out, it just, the more you learn, the more there's still to learn. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's like, wow, it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, and I've said this many times on my show. The devil threw that carrot out to them, you know, like, hey, it's all right if you eat of this tree. You're going to be like God. You're going to know, you know, everything he knows, you know. You're not going to die, you know. You're going to be immortal. So these are the kind of things that he's going to throw out in the end times as candy to get these people to join up on his side, you know. They're going to be promising them through, I believe, the DNA alteration of their DNA. They're going to be promising them superior health, superior strength, immortality. All these things are the same lie that the devil's been telling now. And on a spiritual realm, it goes the same way. The spirit of the Pharisees, man. They altered the religion. They took the law that God gave to Moses and just totally perverted it, you know, and made it to where it was impossible to keep anyway. But they had a good business racket going, and they didn't want Jesus Christ or anybody else coming by and messing it up. Whether they knew and recognized that he was the Messiah or not, I guarantee you they did once they crucified him.
Right.
And that still hasn't stopped their hatred. Jesus said, they hated me first, they're going to hate you too. So I guess you're right, gentlemen. We're probably in for a little bit of slandering, a little bit of a rough ride here.
Well, Jesus, buckle your seatbelts. Everybody buckle their seatbelts and get spiritually right. And, I mean, you know, tune into your show, and you're a big part of things.
Nothing to fear.
Whatever.
The Lord is on our side. I mean,
yes.
You know, if we are right with the Lord, we should look to him for all of our needs, emotional, physical. You know, if we have to meet him halfway, we take that step, he will definitely, without doubt, 100% of the time, take that other half of the step to come to you.
Right.
Amen.
Well, God bless you.
You know this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me say one more thing, though, because this is something I say regularly on my show no matter what, and I don't like any of this junk any more than the next guy, but no matter what comes our way, it's not for a lot of time, boys, because we ain't got a lot of time. If I died right now, if the old ticker give out, I ain't going to be dead long. So just be of good cheer and be of encouragement. And I do have a guest coming on the 26th. Lindsey Williams going to be on if anybody wants to hear about some of he knew about the Illuminati, and maybe he'll help to illuminate the Illuminati for us.
Lindsey Williams on the 26th. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that'd be a good show to catch.
That's next.
Joe will have to look into that. Maybe he'll give me some insight on the lineage of Cain if there's a connection to the Illuminati. But I know you boys got other callers, so I'll let you go. And
all right, my friend.
God bless you. Keep your chins up.
God bless you, Radio Preacher Man, and say hi to Mo for me. We love you both, and everybody, you know, listen to the Radio Preacher Man. He's on just before us, I think, 6 to 8 Eastern time.
6 to 8. Yep.
Okay, that's here on Blog Talk,
Eastern.
Blog Talk, and on Christians United Broadcasting. So look for his show Monday through Friday.
Yes, sir. God bless you both, John.
Thanks, RPM. We'll talk to you later. All right. We are just zipping on through this program. We got callers still on hold. We are going to go to area code 205. You're on the line with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Is that me?
Yes, it is.
You're up, sir.
Hey, Doug. Joe, how are you guys doing tonight?
Very well, thank you. What's on your mind?
I've got, you know, you say you try to piece things together piece by piece, and I think I may have a little bit of a piece for you.
Please help. Please help me.
I'm coming to you tonight from central Alabama, and I work in the Birmingham area, but I live in a little town outside of Birmingham. Our population's about maybe 4,000 people.
Okay.
And the route that I take my daughter to school every day goes right beside our police station, our local PD out that way. And I've noticed that they have started accruing a lot of military-style equipment. And listening to your show and seeing this starting to occur is kind of unsettling. Now, I started searching things out this afternoon on YouTube, and I come across a show with Steve Quayle and some feller named Hawk. I'm not sure who he is. But he was talking about there have been reports out of Montgomery, Alabama, that there were Russian troops buying large combat knives. Do you guys know anything about that? I mean, the larger cities around here, they have big-time SWAT teams and stuff like that, so it's not unusual to see them with big black vehicles. I mean, they're not armed up like these reptilian-looking armored vehicles that the troops are using overseas for combat. But the best that I can tell, they've got... Now, listen, we've got 4 squad cars, okay? We've got like 5 traffic lights and 1 blinking light. And they have, I couldn't count them all. There's somewhere between 12 and 14 Hummers and some kind of big, huge 18-wheeler style rigs that I've never seen before. They look like maybe delivery style trucks or something.
Okay.
Doug, Steve Quayle has said on your show more than on one occasion that the state of Alabama is, for some reason, a target. And I'm just trying to put my own pieces together to try to figure out what in the world is going on. You know, this is where I live. I'm troubled for our entire nation, but this is my home. And if I can get a little bit of information of what's going on, maybe it'll make it set a little bit better with me, whether I know the doom or I know, you see them. I'm in the dark here.
Look, nothing was said, at least to me, about Alabama or any specific state or city. Excuse me. I don't know what's, Steve's got his sources. Alabama, unless caller, that might play into the racial component, okay, because of the diversity of race, perhaps, and the, I don't know. I mean, that was a stab in the dark, okay, and you mentioning knives, no pun intended, but I don't know. I can talk to Steve, and I know we're going to have Greg Evenson on next Tuesday, and that's going to be a program not to miss, because Greg's really up on, like, that kind of stuff. So I think maybe he can hone in a little bit better. But I'll tell you what, caller, if we hear anything, I know Joe's all on top of things too. If we hear anything about Alabama or any specific state, city, area, we're going to be all over it. So we're going to give you a heads up. But yeah, I don't know.
You know, the last time I spoke with you, you were actually broadcasting through LBN. That was the last time I spoke with you. And it was right at the height of the Zimmerman thing, and we're very diversified in our race around here. One of the greatest, civil rights movement, came out of Birmingham and Montgomery.
Right.
And I don't. In the back of my mind, I keep leaning towards some kind of race war type scenario. I guess it's wherever your demographic is, wherever you live, whatever. In New York City, it wouldn't be like that. You've got 5 million different races and nationalities and blends of races and nationalities. But here in the South, you're kind of one of 5 or 6, and that's something we deal with on a daily basis. So I know that we're looking for one incident. We're looking for one main event. But I think it's going to be categorized around the nation, maybe a little bit different for the scenarios that they can monopolize on.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, I agree that it could be one event. It could be a multi-prong attack. As we see now, we are being attacked from all sides, whether it's legislation trying to nullify the Constitution, the GM, food, the poison in our water. But yeah, could it be an economic and a false flag terror attack at the same time? Could it be yes, I think everything's on the table. As I said earlier, there is nothing. These people will do anything it takes to get their agenda through. If that means killing their own mothers, they'll do it.
It's unfortunate. And there will be exploitation of the minorities when this does happen. For example, the purely demographics, as you pointed out, you've got a segment of the population, minorities on maybe a higher element or a segment of the collecting assistance. Now, that may not be the case in all areas, but I mean that's just a matter of fact. So, that said, there's going to be that racial component there, in addition to, like, for example, the Zimmerman incidents, like the Zimmerman case. So, yeah, you're correct, caller, in that. I believe that's part of it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's about all I had. The only other thing I wanted to just, I think every American, not even Americans, I think everybody that can get it needs to read this book that I just got finished with by Jonathan Cahn called The Harbinger. Have you guys had a chance to look at that?
Everyone should.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. The Harbinger.
Everybody.
And he's a rabbi, by the way, that wrote that.
Yeah.
Cahn.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video, a 45-minute YouTube video that explains it with somebody who's interviewing him on a TV show. That is an excellent watch, and I have not read the book, but I've heard it is an excellent read. And The Harbingers, it is amazing what is said in Isaiah, Isaiah 9 versus what they said after 9/11, and what happened to the people who said it. Everything from the replacement of the cedar tree to the defiance of rebuilding instead of repenting.
Exactly.
Very important.
Yes. Interesting book. Anything else, my friend? We got to move along here before the end of the show.
That's the only nugget I have for you. I just wanted to let you know what was going on in my area.
Well,
I would give you extreme specifics, but I'd rather email you with all that. And I might try to get some pictures of them if I don't feel like I'm going to be locked up.
Yeah, just be careful. Be careful, but
yeah.
But certainly,
I've got too much to lose.
Yeah.
I got babies, and I got too much to lose to stick my neck out like that just over a couple of pictures when we know what's going on nationwide. But, guys, God bless you. Thank you for what you do, and I'll be listening.
All right, my friend. And we're going to go next to, did I just do that right here? Yeah. We're going to go next to 541 area code. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm learning now. 541, you're on with Doug and Joe Hagmann.
Thanks for the waiting.
Yeah, thank you very much for waiting. All righty then. We're going to go to the next caller and the 580 area code as soon as my, okay. We're going to go to the, no we're not. We're going to go to 406. Somehow I don't know.
580 next.
580 next. 406, you're up on the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Oh, Brother Hagmann, how are you doing tonight?
Very well.
Excellent.
What's on your mind?
Good. Well, I appreciate you taking my call. I just wanted to tell you, I spend a lot of nights, 3-4 hours a night in prayer. And ever since May, just every day, my gut tells me something's coming. And I just really appreciate the information that you guys are putting out. I mean, I know it. I don't know as much as you guys do, but, in my prayer time when I just say, okay, that's enough, I'm getting a little crazy, the Holy Spirit comes over me and just says, no, it's coming. So I just want to tell you guys I really appreciate your show.
We appreciate you, and I'll tell you what.
Thanks for
it's validation in and of itself. I think the spiritual. I want to say spiritual surveillance, but that's not it. But the spirituality is important, and people are feeling it.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the people calling in and letting us know they're listening, sending the emails and the messages on Facebook or Twitter.
Yes.
You guys have no idea how uplifting it is, for me at least, to read one email, thanking us. I feel undeserving of it. I feel completely blessed.
We're very humbled by everything that everything that happens. And seriously, look, we're not in this we're just humbled by it. But caller, thank you so very much for your call.
Yeah.
And thanks for praying.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started about last November, totally, I never listened to the mainstream media for like 10 years because I knew, that wasn't right.
Right.
And then in my prayer time, I just started to get something. And I found you guys on the internet, and it was, like you said, validation. And like I said, all the time in my prayer time, I just keep getting, before the year's out, something drastic is coming down. So,
wow.
By next year for sure.
Well, thank you.
I know that.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for praying, and God bless you, and please spread the word about our program.
I will. I appreciate you guys. Have a good evening.
You too, man.
God bless you. We're going to move on to another call, but before we do that, I want to say the caller from the 451 area code.
541. What are you, dyslexic?
I'm sorry, 541. We tried to grab your call. We saw you called back, and it dropped off. If you call back in, we'll put you right on.
We're just messing with you. Actually, we're messing with your head.
It looks like they're messing with you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to look here, and we have actually a full bank of callers. But folks, if you want to speak to us, it might be good to drop off, call back, and press the 1 to speak with us, because we're not sure who wants to talk and who doesn't. I don't know.
Did you?
I don't know.
I don't
know what buttons I pressed.
Okay.
Keep me away from these buttons. Okay?
I'm going to go to.
I'm getting too old for this. I can't.
580. I don't know if we went here already.
I think.
All right. Here's 541.
Wait, we didn't take 580. No, we didn't. Did we take 58?
We'll go to him next. 541 dropped off twice. Got back on. 541. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
And I'm sorry. I think it's my fat fingers on these buttons. Okay.
No. It's not you guys at all. I'm the one that's hustling around trying to get my phone to work. But first of all, I do want to encourage you. I discovered you probably in the last year because of Steve Kroff, and I really do appreciate you. But I want to hustle this, and I also want to mention that Candace, who called from France last night, was just a fascinating listen. I could have listened to her insight regarding what's going on over there all night long. And you mentioned having her as your international correspondent with tongue-in-cheek, and actually I thought, yeah, let's do that, because we're not getting information about their reality, and I really appreciated hearing it from her. I also want to say that I was listening to Greg Evanson, and I really like him too, but he made mention of doing whatever you could do to get ready for what's coming, even if it means using your credit cards to the limit. And I got to ask, what you're thinking on that, and I want to understand it. And I'm trying to fly through this, so forgive me if I'm sounding really random. But also on top of that, I have a daughter and a grandson that take care. My daughter is single and lived in San Jose, California. I live in Oregon, and I worry about her being there and me being here, and her trying to survive when what's coming down comes down, and it comes down pretty much overnight, no warning, and how she's going to get up here to Oregon, a 9-hour drive, and I'm the one that's stocking up on all the food and the water, making sure that I'm ready for my kids, because I have 2 in California, and here I am flying. I can't even make sense.
That's okay.
I'm trying to get you guys to answer so many questions, and you're going to be off the air so soon, so I should probably try and email you too. And if you wouldn't mind, I really don't know where to find your email address on your page, and
okay.
I have so many things I want to say.
Okay,
so there it is.
Okay, hold on a second. Just stay with us. Let me take this one at a time, and then I'll turn it over to Joe too. As far as the email is concerned, folks, you can go to our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com, and click on. You see an article, and you see my name there. Just go ahead and click on that name, and that'll bring up an email box. It'll do it for you.
And I'll give you my email right here on air, because my Homeland Security email is not working properly.
Yes,
you
can
have to work this out. Joe Hagmann 24 at AOL.com.
That's a super secret email account.
Yeah, that's Joe Hagmann, HAGMANN 24 at AOL.com.
Or alternatively, you can just click on my name, and I will get it to Joe, because I see him all the time, because I have to. Okay, now, caller, Greg Evenson, emails maxing out, or credit cards maxing out to the limit to prepare for what's going on. I think maybe we need to add some context to that. I think if you're in dire straits. You've got no preparations made. I think that all he's saying is, look, get prepared as best you can, even if you have to work the plastic a little bit. But I don't believe that he would. I certainly would not personally recommend, maxing out your cards to get prepared. I just don't see that as good advice. But
well, I'm putting words in his mouth, and I apologize. He did make reference to using the credit card, and I do appreciate that his reasoning would be what you just said. I wouldn't, I really appreciate Greg Evanson, too, like I do you. And, no, he did not make a recommendation that would be that dramatic. And, yes, I would be one of those in the position of needing to do whatever I could possibly do because I am one of those that's very dependent on the government. I'm 57, unemployed. I'm an insurance agent, and I'm having a very hard time making a living. I had a home go in foreclosure in March, and every month I pay a lawyer up in Portland an hour and a half away who's continuing to unravel that for me. So, and additionally, I wonder, okay, so I have a home that's not the bank's home anymore, it's not my home anymore, and so if this all comes to the dollar collapsing, if you will, am I kind of luckier than most people because nobody's coming to get my home because it's kind of in a legal dispute? I know that's a very strange question, but
that's a good question.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm asking a good question because I do wonder in my mind, I'm living in a home that the bank has already withdrawn from. And now the legality is involved is suing for personal damages that I've been through for the last 7 years because of the typical sort of illegal loan that I was coerced in, and they made out and I did not. And anyway, so now I have a home that I only pay a lawyer $500 a month to keep going through the legal pursuit, but there's no bank involved. I pay no mortgage. I don't know what's going to happen when the dollar collapses. Am I just going to be here? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well,
I don't even know how to word it.
And boy, thank you for saying that. You don't know how to word it because that's the very nature of like the conversations I have with the sources. You come to a point. There's a point when you don't even know what questions to ask because it is so mind paralyzing almost. Okay, now, first of all, with respect to your employment situation and whatever dependency you are on the government, look, that's just do what you can to survive. Attempt to do whatever. Do whatever you have to do to survive. And now I'm going to say this, because I've been where you're at. Not necessarily unemployed, but down, underemployed, and hurting like really bad. Put your faith in God. You're going to have to kind of, let go and let God a little bit. I know that sounds trite. Oh, my goodness, it sounds right. But have faith and pray, because we're going to be praying for you. But that's okay. But, practically speaking, I would talk to your attorney about this. And you know what? Don't try to, unravel the mystery of how this is going to play out with your house right now. Just take care of the here and now with your house, okay? Because I don't know how it's going to play out. But with your daughter, you mentioned you have a daughter in Oregon? Yeah, a couple of...
No, she's in California. I have a son in California, and I have a daughter in California who's with my grandson. She's a single parent. And I think in my mind, I go, okay, so everything collapses, the lights go out. I'm the only one that's really putting food aside because I expect that we'll all eventually, converge here in my house. And I don't know how they're going to drive up here from California. If worse comes to worse, there's martial law, and people are sort of making it challenging to even cross the border. I mean, my mind cannot figure it out, like you just said. But in the end, I've also wondered, well, maybe I should just have my daughter try and consider coming here with my grandson so that when it all happens, whenever that is, I don't have to worry about them getting up here. And I feel like I'm just going sort of, off the cuff here because I have so many things I want to say, and I'm trying to make them quick, and I know your time is running out. But yes, I am dependent on the government. I don't like it at all. It's better than nothing.
Sure.
My lawyer would not appreciate the conversation, or rather the question with respect to, how do I figure out my house in regard to what we're facing, because he doesn't know what we're going to be facing. There are more people that don't seem to get it, know it, understand it. I'm talking another language when I'm trying to tell people what we're going to be going through. My lawyer is one of those. So he's not able to tell me, you're just so lucky you have a house that nobody's coming after because nobody's name is on it and it's in the legal system. And you see what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Yeah,
we do.
We have.
I really don't have, but I am using a credit card to keep him paid, because ultimately Bank of America will lose a case and they will have to pay me a settlement for what I've been through in the last 7 years because of them and because of the lender.
Well, I want to tell you, somebody in our chat recommended a site for you to go to. It's www.mortgageendgame.com, and I'm not sure what that offers. Mortgage. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mortgage Endgame is a radio show on RBN about
well, you know what,
bankers and mortgage fraud, and people who need to know more about this subject and what's going on. Apparently, they can help you.
And one of Alex Jones's sponsors, I believe, is Clouded Title. I think somebody had mentioned that. There's information on the internet. You can do your own research about that for your personal subscription.
It's going on 5 still, and you guys are going to have to close up. I'll just have to correspond with email. In a nutshell, because we probably do have people that are dealing with foreclosure. My house was already foreclosed on and door shut and police at the door and eviction notice taped to my door. I've already been through that. I'm in a legal system where the court system here where had to rescind. The case was such where the court here where I live kicked it out, if you will. So the eviction and foreclosure thing is already behind me. Now it's, what are we going to do about settling the property, which they'll probably have to end up giving it to me. So I've already been through all that.
That's a good thing, right?
And I want to tell you,
it's a very unusual thing. It's a very good thing, yeah.
We're getting a lot of suggestions in chat and different places to go. If you send us an email or send me an email, I will send you what people have posted as far as websites and places to go look to see if you can get help and look and see if your mortgage isn't even tied to the illegal mortgages where a judge could technically sign off on that as illegal, but I mean that's a long way down the road.
Oh, yeah, it is. No problem. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys a lot. And the least of my concerns really is my house. The biggest of my concerns is making sure that when the worst comes to worst and I wake up tomorrow and there we are, I really have prepared. And so I listened to you, I listened to Steve, I listened to Greg, and actually also Gary Caw. You didn't mention him earlier as that few and far between group that really is trying to alert the public that we really are in a very serious situation, and as Christians, getting ready for all of the above. But I will email you. I appreciate you. I love you guys, and I will let you go so you can sign off. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you. A very polite, very considerate caller, too, with Winch knowing that we're up against the top or the end of the show.
I can't believe we're at the end of the show.
I just want to say this really quickly. There is a couple, wrote a book about the mortgage crisis, the banking crisis, that contacted us. We're trying to schedule a time for them to come on our show addressing the financial impact.
90 seconds.
We will give you more information about that next week. Ann Barnhart on Monday, Greg Evenson on Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah. And also something we didn't get into tonight, the new One World Religion and the planners behind it. We will get into that tomorrow, and hopefully I can get an article together. This stuff is so evil. It's tied to the UN. It's tied to Lucis Trust, or, well, it was formerly the Lucifer Publishing Company, now known as Lucis Trust. People like Bill Gates and the Rockefeller.
60 seconds.
And it is to bring about not only a one world religion based on Alice Bailey's book and some other satanic occultists, but the one world economic, political, and Luciferian system. And to leave you with a quote from the UN planetary, David Spangler is his name. He said that no one will enter the New World Order unless he or she takes a Luciferian oath. No one will enter the New Age unless they worship Lucifer. That is on the UN floor. You can look that up. And we just want to thank each and every one of you so much for listening tonight. We love you all. This was a wonderful program. We'll see you tomorrow for our fantastic Friday, and stay safe.
God bless you. And
10 seconds.
Thank you for listening. And for those of you in Israel, have a good Sabbath. Good night, everyone.